What up, guys? So there's a lot of things that are on order that I'm waiting for. So not too much this weekend, maybe. As you can see, I've got the rear tires off and down to the tire shop, putting new rear tires on it. And then once the new rear tires get put on, then I'm going to do one of those home toe alignments with either the string line or the tape measure, and get that at least how it looks now is like one tire is straight and one tire is out a little bit. I replaced the entire rack underneath, and when I spun off the tie rod ends, I counted them and I spun them back on the correct number that I took them off. But for some reason I still think that the one tire is out, so I'm just gonna do like a little home toe alignment on it, just so it at least goes kind of straight down the road, so when I'm done with it I can take the whole truck down and get it aligned in the 2004 specs, 2004 Silverado specs, because I don't know where the caster or the camber or whatever is, if it's correct, because I guess these trucks, the trucks meaning 2004 Silverado trucks, do have an issue of those little, there's like a little clip that comes out with a little tab that sticks through, and it tells you, it gives you like hash marks, you know, for the degrees of camber, and those have a tendency to walk out. You can buy a kit that once you get it aligned, you can actually put these clips in and they lock it in place. But for the purposes of this, I don't plan on going off-roading with it or anything like that that's going to cause it to hit it to make it jostle out of alignment. So what we're going to do first thing this morning, it is Saturday, is we are going to pull off the front tires, rims and tires, and I'm going to start sanding those down so I can get them painted. I have two ways I can paint them. One with Krylon, which is the dark metallic dark metal, which is what everything on the inside is done, and it closely matches everything that I painted on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand them down and probably wire wheel the backs of it really good, and the back I think I'm just going to paint black, and then the faces are going to be either this color. I'll put them on. If I don't like it, then I'll sand that back off, and then I'll paint it the gunmetal that I have for the running boards and front and rear bumper. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to start with pulling these off and put them up on my little table, and then start sanding them. I'm probably just going to sand them, well, it depends on how much I can get off, but usually it's like a 320 situation on a hard pad. I do have soft pad, just maybe to get into the edges of stuff, but if I have to wire wheel or whatever. So we're just going to go through the process of cleaning these front tires up, because the rear tires are getting done. So I'm going to do those real quick. I do believe don't have any more of the black paint I want to use on the inside, so I'll probably have to bebop into town and grab those. So let's start with pulling off the front tires and fire up the compressor and start sanding. So that's basically what I'm going to do on the other tire as well. So instead of recording it all, I'll just finish cleaning these up, and then when I get to the front sides, and I'll show you with the sanding on how I do that. So while we're letting the tires kind of set up there, I sanded them, the fronts down with 180, and then I did the whole backs with the wire wheel to knock all the crap off it. And then I went over with the metal prep, the 415 metal prep, sprayed them all down. So I'm just kind of letting them sit But a few things that I have on order we'll go over real quick. I have the rest of the exhaust on order to bring it out. And then I'm using a lot of fuel. Like I put 5 gallons in it when we first started it up, and all it's been doing is just like starting it up here and there, and it ran right through it. So as I'm looking at it while it's running, I'm seeing a lot of fuel get dumped into the carburetor, and I'm having a kind of an issue with cold start. It wants to flood. So doing some research on it, the fuel pump that I have actually goes up to 7 psi. So it's between 4 and 7 in that range. And doing a little bit more checking, that fuel pump puts out about 6.5 to 6.8 constant. So it's really too much fuel. So I'm over fueling the carburetor for my application. So a little bit more research, and I'm going to be putting in a fuel pressure regulator so I can drop that down to a constant anywhere from 4 to 5, probably 5 psi at the max. Hopefully that will stop my flooding out when I first fire it up, because the fuel pump is just pushing fuel into that thing. And hopefully that'll solve it. So I ordered fuel pressure regulator, more -6 AN lines, so I can make it all work together with a fuel pressure gauge. So that'll get mounted up underneath there in line of the carburetor, so I can do that. So that's on order. I'm waiting for that. The exhaust is on order. I'm waiting for that. Yep. So that's what I'm waiting for, to start working on that side of stuff. That's why I'm kind of working on the rims right now. I may get a chance to work on that front bumper a little bit. So this video is going to kind of be all over the place, trying to do what I can with what I have, waiting for stuff that's on order. All right. So now let's spin you around. I'm going to pressure wash up these rims, dry them up. I do have to go get some more black. I don't have enough to do all 4 rims. So while I'm waiting for the other rims to get all swapped out, I'm gonna go get those. And then these rims will dry while I'm running around town getting stuff. Okay. So I got the wheels all cleaned up, wire wheeled. So now I'm sure there's multiple ways of taping up these rims. Ultimately, I should have had the tires removed, taken the rims, sanded them, blasted them, whatever, paint them, then take them back and have them all mounted. But it doesn't, I don't know, for me, I'll just tape them up like this, and then I'll do the black on the inside of the barrel. And then once that dries, I'll tape off the face in the back, and then I'll paint the front halves of them. But we'll do one totally, and then what I'll do is I'll do the other 3, because I mean, how many times do you want to see me tape up a wheel and paint it? So we'll do one so you can see how my process is, and maybe it'll help some of you guys out there on doing this if you already had your tires mounted to the rims. So here we go, let's get into this. I already started taping it up. I've seen playing cards shoved in there. They make wheel mask thingies that you can actually set on there. It's like a circle that kind of wedges in there. But this is the way I know how to do it, and I have everything to do it, so this is how I'm gonna do it. All right, so let's do this. Okay, so even though I sanded it all down,
did the metal prep stuff, pressure washed it. I still will use acetone just to wipe it down, just to make sure that there's nothing lingering kind of deal. I like acetone because it flashes off real quick. So yeah. Just using a little bit of this Rust-Oleum, high heat. I love this stuff. I actually, a little side note here, I use this to paint my entire block on that motor and on the 3100 build that's also on the channel, and even the exhaust manifolds. And this stuff does not burn off. This stuff is awesome. So locally it's a little expensive. It's like 13 bucks a can, but you know how it performs. Yeah, like I said, if it's good enough for a grill, it's good enough for these. So yep, so now I'm gonna shake it up and spray it out. Okay guys, so that's that face of it. I'm going to let that set up because I'm going to mask off these holes right here, so none of the silver gets back on the back. So I got to make sure that's really dry. So I'm going to be doing this with the rest of the tires, taping them up, painting the backs, and then once we get that all set up, then I'll do the front. So I've got that times 3. So I'm going to do that real quick. So I got the rear tires back from the tire shop. They are the stock size. So these are 265/75 R16s versus the 235/65s. So kind of like a little hot rod look. So the rear tires are a little bigger than the front, but I know they'll fit because that's what came off them. So that's what's going back on. I like that look. Plus they're a little wider in the back, so these are like 10.4 inches wide, I think. So they're a little wider, bigger sidewall, so it's a little bit of a taller tire than the front. So I've already painted the back of the barrels, the black, so now I'm going to tape off the front, use my metallic dark gray in the can, which is what everything on the inside is all the trim pieces are done. Tape it off, then paint the top, and then I'll see how it looks before I do the other 3, because if I like it, I'll do the other 3. If I don't like it, I will then sand it back down and then use the regular automotive paint that I did the running boards in. So let me do that real quick, because the whole key on this is that I'm kind of doing it on the budget. Yeah, I could have got new wheels that were all like super bling bling, but that's kind of not what this truck is. And I want to get the truck pinstripe too in the same kind of charcoal, so that'll kind of break up all that orange that's going on. I did contact a guy local that does it, so I'm just waiting to hear back from him to see how much it's going to cost to come out and pinstripe it. I don't pinstripe. I guess I could, but really I'll just leave it to the professional to do something pretty cool. And he's kind of famous-ish. So yeah. So let me get this all taped up, and then I'll put a coat on here, put it on the truck, see how I like it, and then go from there. So that's the color, metallic dark metal. It can't be so bad. It's got primer in it and everything. So, and everything I've done so far with this stuff held up, no problem. The whole trick with these metallic can stuff is one, a good prep and clean surface, and two, multiple light coats versus like heavy coats. 'Cause especially with the metallics, it'll actually run on you with this stuff. So, so this has been sitting up for about 5 minutes, and then I'll hit it one more time, and then let that sit for about 15 minutes, and then come back and do a final coat across it. So there's the back, nice and black. And there's the front. I know I'm gonna like these. Yep. So I'm gonna start doing the other ones, and then we'll get back. There we go. Gunmetal, and then there's my center caps that I picked up. GMC Sierra ones. They fit a Chevy Silverado hubcap 6 lug. Right there. And then I decided, well, since I'm got paint all out and everything, might as well sand down the rear bumper, and I painted that up. Yep, I like it. Good morning. So it's Sunday morning. I'm gonna throw together the string lines on some jack stands and stuff to get my measurements, and then we'll start with a DIY toe alignment. I've never done this before, so this is just basically to get me so my tires are straight with a little toe in versus straight, and then driving out to the East Coast. So let me set this up, and then we'll get back to you. Okay, so I've got it set up with the strings to just kind of set the toe, because this one tire on the passenger side is actually coming out a little bit, so I would assume that would be toe out. So I've got them equal distance in the rear because of a solid axle, so you can use that as a starting point. So I'm 5 inches away from the rim to the string on both sides, front of the rim and the back of the rim. So now I have to get that within those specs. It's a 1/16 of an inch toe in. So I have to get up underneath, loosen up the jam nuts, and then bring it in so it's right. Pretty easy, I guess. I've never done this before, so this is a first for me too. And since I use the stock column, the wheel is kind of like wherever right now. So once I get the front towed in to good enough for me to take it down and actually have it aligned, once I get it registered and all that stuff, I can put the steering wheel wherever I want it. So it'll be in the center. So I'm gonna climb underneath, loosen up the jam nuts, take some measurements up front until I get it where it's right. So this is what we're looking at. So I backed off the nuts on both sides, and then I had to turn this in to pull this in. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then we'll remeasure and see where we're at. So this is all I'm doing. I'm just turning that in. And you can hear the tire move. And that's what I'm doing to get it. So I'm gonna do both sides, get it within 5 inches, like the rear from the string to the tire or rim is 5 inches. So I wanna get these 5 inches on both sides, and then I have to come in like an 1/8, so it'll be an 1/8 here and an 1/8 out, which will be 1/16 of toe in. Okay, so I guess just kept turning them until they were approximately the right toe in. I do have right now they're an 1/8 inch in, towed in, so it would be 1/16 rear, 1/16 front, which total 1/8 in. That's kind of like the shade tree mechanic ideology on that one. But when I'm looking at the tires from the front, from the side, they now look like a little bit in. So not having the steering wheel in a straight position, I had to start off with some sort of like known variable. So what I did was the tie rod ends that I showed you with the arms that come out into the tie rod ends, I made sure that from the nut to the end of the threads were the same on both sides, so they were equal to start off with. And then I moved the steering wheel to have the rims to the string relatively close to what they were in the back, which was 5 inches. So I had to bring it out 5 inches because of the rear fender sticks out from the tire about 2 inches. So I had to bring it out so I could straighten out the strings. So I had 5 inches in the back there off the rims, and then 5 inches on the other side. And then in the front, I had a known variable in being zeroed out, and then I just adjusted it until everything was somewhat towed in. Better than I started. As I'm looking at it, the wheels do look straightish and turned in-ish, instead of one straight and one off into the Neverlands. So yep, I think this frame had probably a towing an alignment issue in the front. So when I spun off the one, I spun off the other. When I spun them back on the same count, it still seemed off. I probably should have done all that before I put the bed on, or the rear fenders on, so I could get a better closement of the string, but I didn't. So it should be good enough to go down the road somewhat straight. So when I take it to the alignment shop to have the alignment done, they can get it how it's supposed to be. So I'm going to take all the strings down and all that stuff, and then we'll go from there. I'm not sure, I'm still waiting for parts on stuff, so it's kind of, I do have the headliner in. Well, not in the truck, but I did get one in, the two-piece one, cardboard deal. I don't like it. I stuck it together and I put it up in there, and it's just, I don't know, it just looks bad. So I don't know if I'm gonna get a one-piece headliner and get that all up in there, or what I'm gonna do. So I'm still kind of like on the fence for that one. So let me get all this stuff wrapped up, the strings and stuff, and then we'll come back. All right, guys. Well, I still haven't gotten any of my parts in for the fuel pressure regulator stuff. None of my exhaust stuff came in. I was hoping some of it would come in today, but it didn't. And then a fellow COE owner out in Mesa, Arizona, hit me up and said, "Hey, do you still have your old chassis out there?" I go, "Yeah, I still have the chassis, engine, and all that." And he goes, "Can you get me the tie rod and bar?" His is bent on his COE. And I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So kind of spent a couple hours to get that thing out. Yep, hold on. So I got that out for him. I ended up having to cut the ball joints off of it. All he needs is the bar, not the ball joints. So he already has new ones, so he's gonna spin these off and take them off. So I had to take the old slice and dice out there and yeah, cut them off. So that's gonna wrap it up for this one, I believe. It was still a great weekend. Got a lot of stuff done. Got the tires or the wheels all painted up, did that home alignment on it, and then I started figuring out the whole fuel, how I'm gonna run, I could have to run the fuel hose differently because of the fuel pressure regulator and stuff like that. So that's gonna wrap it up for this one. So hit like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, all that helps the channel, and go out there and build something cool. I'll see you next time.